Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to send that link for you to go. Alrighty, so I sent the link in the chat. Please show some sign that you have received the link and you could go ahead and join the YouTube link, and also you could leave the Zoom platform. Hi everyone, I'm seeing that we have 25 people here. My name is Alia. I'll be the host for today. The teacher is getting himself set up. I'm not sure if you're hearing me. Could you go ahead and could you maybe go ahead and send some confirmation in the chat currently? Me? Okay, Mr. Garrel, are you hearing me?
Me?
I am hearing you now.
Okay. Well, so what that happened before? Hello?
Hello, you hearing me?
Yeah, I was asking what was the issue before?
Okay, you weren't added to the stream. So go ahead and ask the students if they're hearing you because I'm hearing you. So ask them if they're hearing you.
Okay, students, good afternoon. Are you guys hearing me clearly? All right, I haven't seen anyone respond as yet. I'm looking for the response in the comment section, correct?
In the comment, right?
All right, cool.
Could you guys go ahead and just give some acknowledgement if you guys are hearing Mr. Garrel? Okay, great. Alrighty, so I'm seeing here we have 21 students with us. Good afternoon again. It's 1:16. Mr. Garrel would be your math teacher for today. I will be I'm just gonna be on the sidelines. But if you do have any questions while Mr. Garrel is going through whatever he is going to be going over today, you could go ahead and drop it in the comment section. Once you drop it in the comment section, I will go ahead and acknowledge that you are asking a question. I will go ahead and pin it on the stream, or I'll maybe go ahead and add it to the live stream so you could go ahead and speak to Mr. Garrel on a face-to-face kind of basis.
I don't know if
So
everyone heard you just now. Breaking up in the latter part of your message. Hello?
Mr. Garrel,
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. What happened a while ago? It seemed like, I don't know if you fell off the internet or something.
maybe it was a connectivity issue, but I'm hearing you now. So you could go ahead and start with the class.
All right. Good afternoon again, students. Yes, so we have 21 persons online. All right. One if that's sufficient amount. I guess regardless of when I start. All right. So today we'll be going through the 2021 past paper. That's the one that was done in July. I had asked today which paper you guys would prefer, and I got a few responses. So I just worked with the few persons that responded and said, all right, we're going through paper two. So I actually selected the paper two. I think since this is kind of post the whole height of the pandemic, this would be a good one to go through because I don't know if anything had really changed with the prior exams paper compared to this one. So I think this one would have been a good selection. Pardon me, I might not be fully familiar with the platform, but I don't know if you guys are all seeing the paper. I had sent it in the WhatsApp group. I hope you guys are viewing it, but then again, I wonder how that would be. Hold on, let me check something. Miss Clark, is there any way you could like put up the paper for them to see as well? Like while I'm going through, you could probably put up the paper on your screen, and they look at the working out on my screen. Yeah, your
Did you
mic's
send it to
muted.
me?
Yeah, I had sent it in one of the groups. Hold on, let me send it directly to you. Let me send it. Let me should say it directly to you. Wait a minute, let me just message you. All right, it's sent to you. Okay.
Let me go ahead and send it into my email and then share it on the screen. But you could go ahead.
Miss Clark, I didn't hear what you said. It fell off or something.
Mr. Garrett,
Yeah, all right. Could you repeat what you had said last? I didn't hear clearly.
I was saying to you, loading, so I'm going to go ahead and send it into my email so I could go ahead and share the screen as well, so the students could be able to see it.
Okay. So the first half of what you said came in kind of choppy, so I still never did hear it clearly. I just hear the last part when you said
I'm
share the
sorry.
screen.
Yes. It's loading now. Seeing as you sent it through WhatsApp, it's loading. So I'm going to send it through my email so I could go ahead and share the screen so the students can see it as well.
Okay, all right. So we just wait till
All
the
right.
load
So you
that
could
up.
go ahead and just start. Right.
Okay,
You
let's
could go
start.
ahead and speak to them. Interact. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you guys. I don't know how many of them seen the paper right now. So the thing is, I have a little whiteboard. I'm turning the screen to it. So I'm planning to do. I just worked out on the whiteboard, but I want to know how many persons are actually seeing the paper because then I like some. I go write back the question and the whiteboard. Me actually, I go just look at the question and just work it. Hold on, give me a second, guys.
So a student just went ahead and sent the CSEC paper that you had sent in the workshop group. So
Mm-hmm.
I should think that everyone is seeing that is on the live stream is seeing the paper, but I'm still gonna go ahead and share the screen as well.
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
All right.
Um, I noticed that it's good. Can you guys see that? What is written on the board? I'm just testing out to see if you guys can see clearly what's written. Next, my right actual word. All right, let me try something. Is that better? It's actually not. All right, I think that looks a little better. Let me see if I can get another light. All right, I think that's good enough for you guys. Hold on. All right. So, all right, I think we have delayed enough, so we'll go ahead and start. So, as I had said before, today we'll be working the 2021 July paper 2. We did a lot of introduction, so I guess we're just going to kick it off right now. So, I'm going to start with question number 1. Load it up on my phone. All right, as I said, I hope you guys are all seeing the paper. So I'm starting with question number 1. So question number 1 says, all right, part A, using a calculator or otherwise, calculate the exact value of, I'm going to write what they require, 1 and 4 or 7 divided by 2 over 3 minus 1 and 5 over 7. All right, I hope you guys can all see that. So now, first thing I do, I change everything to a fraction. So that would be now, so 7 times 1 give you 7. 7 plus 4 would give you 11 over 7 divided by 2 over 3 minus 7 times 1, 7 plus 5, 12 over 7. All right, so what we're going to do is change the sign and flip that. So we have 11 over 7 times 3 over 2. So we're going to work out this part first. So 3 times 11 will give me 33 over 14. And then we'll subtract now that part, 12 over 7 from it. Find the LCM to be 14. 14 into 14 goes 1, 1 times 33, going to give me 33. Minus 7 into 14, 2, 2 times 12, going to give me 24. So that's going to be equal to 9 over 14. And that's the answer for the first question, 9 over 14. All right, I just realized someone saying some, if the quality is low, go to settings. All right, so guys, that's how you work out question number one. It's the first time using this platform, so you have to see with me. Usually, I'd be on Zoom where I can get some feedback. Some of the ask you guys if you don't understand or if there's anything you guys want to go over. But since we're not getting audible feedback now, I'm really not sure. So I guess we just have to make the assumption so you guys were following and you would have understood all the steps clearly and seen where how we arrived at the answer. So now I'm gonna move on to the next question. Oh, and another thing, if you guys are practicing on your own and you need any assistance, like you're working on a question and stuff, or you need any assistance, you can always ask question in the group, or if you want, you can message me directly, and I'll assist you as best as possible. Okay. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next part of the question. Hold on. All right. Part B says, when Megan started working, she was paid $85 each week. After a 6 month probationary period, her pay was increased by 20%. How much was she paid each week after the increase? So basically, what I say is Megan was being paid $85 after a 6 month probation period. She got a 20% increase. So they asked now, how much was she being paid after she got the increase? So we know that she was being paid 85 and she got an increase of 20%. So first what we're going to do is find out how much is this 20% increase. So we need to find 20%. Let's put the percent of $85. 5 1 1 kilowatt 5 So we found 20% of 85 to be $17. So this was the increase that she's getting. So the question then asks, how much now is she being paid? So to know how much now she's being paid, you have to add $85 plus $17. You get. So she's now being paid $102. So the $17 is the 20% of 85. That is the increase that she got. So we add the increase to what she was getting before to get what her final pay is, which is $102. Okay. So that's question one, part B. I really should have printed off this paper and make life easier. All right, now let's put it there. So that's question one, part B. So let's go to the next one. So this now is question one, part C. So this says now in 1965, the population of country A was 2,714,000. In 2015, the population was 3,663,900. So the first part of that asks to write the population of 2015 correct to three significant figures. All right, so we know that in 2015, the population was 3. And then there's a write that character 3 significant figures. So that would be 3. We look at this is 3, this is less than 5, so just place out that 0. So this would be the answer. 3,660,000. So that's the population of country A in 2015, written to 3 significant figures, okay? All right, so move on to the next part now. So the next part is all right, the next part asks us to write the population in 1965 in standard form. So this is so in 1965, we know the population was 2714, and they say write that in standard form. So that would be 2 714 times 10. And let's count it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So times 10 to the 6. This will be the answer. 2.714 times 10 to the 6. Alright. I think these questions that we have done so far are fairly simple, so we can move through them quickly. Hold on, guys. Just give me a quick second. All right, guys. So on to the next part. So them said determine the percentage increase in the population from 1965 to 2015. So now they're asking for the percentage increase in the population from the first year that they gave us, which was 1965, to last year that they gave us 2015. So as I said, we know that in 1965 the population was 2174, and in 2015 and they asked for the percentage increase. So how you would find that now is you put, it would be the population in 2015 minus the population in 1965 divided by the population in 1965 times 100 to give it in percentage. So that would be 3,663,900 minus 2,147,074, sorry, over 2,174,000 times 100. That would be equal to, and I'm working so on the calculator and tell you guys the answer. So the answer for that would be 35%. Okay. All right. As I said, I'm using the software. I'm not used to, teaching without the audio feedback as to if persons are following or if persons understand or if they want a certain section to be explained over. But we're just going to have to adjust. I hope everyone is following so far and understanding what is being taught. Okay, now so section B. So let me say the ratio of teachers to male students to female students in a school is 3 to 17 to 18. If the total number of students in the school is 630, determine the number of teachers in the school. All right, so let me say the ratio that is the ratio with 3 being the amount of teachers, 17 being the amount of male students, and 18 being the number of female students. So they're saying there are 630 students. So the amount of male students plus the amount of female students is 630. So they want you to find the amount of teachers in the school. All right, there are plenty ways to approach this. Easiest way first you can find out what this 630 represent. Like when you have this 630 and you have the ratio, you can find out what was the total population. So how you'd find that is, like 3 plus 17. Let's make it easier. So you know the amount of students, which is the amount of male students plus female students, which will be 17 plus 18. Over the total, which will be 3 plus 17 plus 18. That fraction of the amount, the total population will be equal to 630. So 17 plus 18 will give 35. Over 17 plus 18 plus 3 will give 38. Of x will equal to 630. So x will be equal to cross multiply 630 times 38 all over 35. Yeah, I'm going to put my calculator and tell you what I'm get. I get 684. So you know that the total amount of persons now is 684. And you know after 684, 630 are students. So find how much are teachers. It would be 684 minus 630. Yeah, so the final answer will be 54 teachers. So that would be the amount of teachers, 54. All right, let me just give me a second. So, okay, all of that. Okay, and that would be it for question one. You possibly have a shorter way to do this question. I just looked at it and the first way I thought of it, I just did it that way. So you guys might have a shorter way to do it. That would be good, because exam you need to save as much time as possible for go through all of the exam. So question two now. All right, so them say two quantities n and t are related as followed. N, common n equal the square root of t. That's the relationship between n and t. So them say find the value of n when t is equal to 49. So when t n is equal to the square root of 49, which you know is 7, so n would be equal to 7. So when t is equal to 49, n would be equal to 7. Cool? So that's the first part. All right, good. So move on from here. So the second part now says make t the subject of the formula. So you have n equal the square root of t, and they ask you to make t the subject of the formula. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to square both sides. So you have n squared equal, and the square would cancel the square root, is equals to t. So t equal n squared, that would be making n the subject of the formula. Okay, still pretty simple so far. All right, now, so that was question 2, part A. Now we're at question 2, part B. So it says Ali is X years old. Jim is 5 years older than Ali, and Chris is twice as old as Ali. So I'm just write that general thing. So Ali is X years old. So them say write an expression for in terms of X for Jim's age and Chris' age. So we know that them say Jim is 5 years older than Ali. So currently Ali is X and Jim is 5 years older than Ali. So Ali is X plus 5. And that is in years. So in years, Jim is Ali's age plus 5 years older. So that would be, right, it's better. So that would be the age of Jim. Now for Chris now, them say Chris is twice as old as Ali. So it would be Ali's age, which is X times 2. So Chris's age would be 2X. So because Chris is twice as old as Ali. So that's part I. So the next part, it says in 2 years, the product of Ali's age and Chris's age will be the same as the square of Jim's present age. So them say show that the equation x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0 represents the information given above. All right, so can you write the information given above? So them say in 2 years. Let me write that down because that is critical. In, sorry guys, writing might not be the best. 2 years. And remember, you know, this is Jim's age in years, Ali's age in years, and Chris's age in years. So them say in 2 years, the product of Ali's age and Chris's age will be the same as the square of Jim's age. So the product of Ali's age in 2 years times Chris's age will be the same as Jim's age squared. So in 2 years, Ali's age is going to be x plus 2 because she's now x years old, and in 2 years she'll be 2 years older, so it'll be plus 2. Chris's age now, Chris is 2x. So currently he's 2x, and in 2 years, you'd add 2 more to his age, so it's 2x plus 2 will equal to Jim's current age, which is x plus 5 squared. All right, so we're going to multiply with this now. So 2x times x will give you 2x squared. 2x times 2 will give me 4x. 2 times x will give me 2x. And 2 times 2 will give me 4. Equal. Multiply with this will be x plus 5 times x plus 5, which will give me x squared plus 10x plus 25. So now what we're going to do is group like terms. So I'm going to bring over everything from this side over this side. So I'm going to have 2x. Sorry, let me write this way. 2x squared from over here. I bring the x squared from over here, so it's going to be negative. So it's going to be minus x squared. Plus now the 4x that I have there. Well, I have 4x plus 2x, which will give me 6x. So let me write all of that. Plus 6x. And now I have 10x over here, so I bring it over as going to be negative. So minus 10x plus this 4 that I have right here. I'm going to bring over the 25. When we bring over the 25, we're going to be minus 25 equal. I'm bring over everything, so I'm left over here with 0. So that going to be 2x squared minus x squared going to just leave with x squared. So I have plus 6x minus 10x going to give me minus 4x. And plus 4 minus 25 going to give me minus 21. And if you're looking at the paper, you realize that's the expression that they have there. So we had just proven that their initial statement was correct. So that's part 2. Now part 3. All right, I'm going to rub off the board now for the part 3. But all right, just remember this is a critical part. Prove that already. So what they had asked now in part 3 is to calculate Ali's present age. So you know that Ali's age was the unknown, which was x. We had that already initially, but that's not worked out. So they say they want us to calculate Ali's present age. So given that we know this is true, we can use this formula to calculate Ali's present age. So we be x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. So we are trying to solve for x. So now we're going to factorize I need to do this for that. So we know 1 times minus 21 equals minus 21. So what other multiples we could have that give us minus 21? We could have 3 and 7. So we could have positive 3 times negative 7 equal negative 21. And then 3 minus 7 equal minus 4. So we can use those. So we'd have x squared plus 3x minus 7x minus 21 equals 0. So factorize now, so factor out x out of that, we get x plus 3, and then in here we will need x plus 3 as well. And we will multiply that minus 7, okay? So multiply minus 7, we get a minus 7x, minus 7 times 3 minus 21. So the factors will be x minus 7, x plus 3 equals 0. So for this to be true is either 1, this must be equal to 0, or that must be equal to 0. So if we have x minus 7 equals 0, carry over the 7 would have x equal 7. For this, if this is true, we have x plus 3 equals 0. So you have x equal, carry over that with minus 3. So remember, we're dealing with age, so we know this can't be right, because it can't be negative 3 years old. So this must be the answer. X equals 7. So that means Ali's age is 7. But let me see. Next one, the question is all right, now we're done. Question 2. All right, guys. I hope you're finding everything fairly simple so far. That would be mean that you've been practicing for your exams. And even if you're not fully there yet, that's why we have this session to help you guys get along the way, so you can all pass with good grades as well. So question 3 now says, the diagram below shows the triangle PQR in which QPR is equal to 62 degrees and PQR is equal to 90 degrees and PR is 11 centimeters. All right, so for better show this, let me just draw this triangle. So that would be this. The Q might not look the best, guys. No pressure me. Let's say this is 62 degrees. And this is 11 centimeters. Right? So yeah, they had said QPR 62 and PQR is 90 degrees. So now they ask first part, I says calculate the angle PRQ. And this is easy because you know that all the angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So this angle plus this angle plus this angle must equal to 180 degrees. So 180 degrees must be equal to this angle is 90. This is 62. And we don't know this, so I call this x. So x would be equal to 180. And we care about the 90 going minus 90. Care about the 60 going minus 62. 90 and then you have 62 and 90 is 28. So that angle would be equal to 28 degrees. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next part. So part 2 says the length of RQ. So they want the length of RQ. So you have a lot of information here you can use to find the length of RQ. So you know the trig identities between sine, cosine, and tan. You have, as we say, you have so much you could use. You want RQ. So if you select this as the reference, say you select this angle right here as reference, angle P, which is 62 degrees. You know that if this is the reference, this is gonna always be the hypotenuse, the longest side. This would be the opposite. And again, using P as the reference, this would be the opposite, and this would be the adjacent. So you have the angle, you need the opposite side. So you know that sine, and you have the hypotenuse. So you know that sine theta, which is the angle, equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine, and you have 62 degrees as the angle, equal the opposite, which is what you want to find. So let's leave it as opposite over the hypotenuse, which are 11 centimeters. So multiply both sides by 11. So you're going to have the opposite equal 11 sine 62 degrees, which will equal to about 9.2 centimeters. Remember, I always have a unit, you know, guys. So 9.2 centimeters. Sorry if it's not points, not highlighted as much on the video. See, and that would be the answer. Somebody said the lighting is poor. I don't know how much better I can get this lighting. Because when I turned on the light, the student said that it was not so easy for them to see. Yeah, I'm going to try to get that best as possible. So that's the answer for question 3A, part 2, 9.2 centimeters. All right, part B now says the diagram below shows three triangles X, Y, Z on a square grid. So, so question B, part 1 says triangle X is mapped onto triangle Y by a reflection. State the equation of the minor line. Sorry about that. Mirror line, mirror line. All right, if you're looking at the diagram, you'd see it would be mirrored on the x-axis. And on the x-axis, is where y equals 0. Yeah, so triangle x is mirrored triangle y via the x-axis. So part 2 now says, describe fully the transformation which maps triangle x onto triangle z. So now, all right, sorry there. This- Yeah, and so part 2 says, describe fully the transformation which maps triangle x onto triangle z. So that would be a transformation of 90 degrees anti-clockwise rotation about the point 0, 0. 90. And that would be the answer of question 3, part B. So now we'll move on to question 4. Oh, sorry. What is the next part? All right, so part 3 says now, on the diagram on page 10, translate triangle y using the vector -7 and 1. Label this V. All right, this actually I got hard to really depict given some I have the drawing. So, um, you guys probably know how to do that. If not, one kind of send the answer in the group because it'll be hard to draw on the board. You understand? All right, and question 4 says on the diagram, same thing. Enlarge triangle X at the center C00 and a scale factor of a half and label the image W. So, yeah, again, as I said, I can draw that and send it in the group that you guys can see because it would be really hard to depict that really on the board. So I can show you those answers later. So move on to question 4. All right. So 4A, the diagram below shows two lines L1 and L2. The equation of the line L1 is x plus 2y equal 10. The line L2 passes through the point 0, -5, and is perpendicular to the line L1. So first, them say express the equation of the line L1 in the form y equal mx plus c. So we know that the equation for L1 is x plus 2y equal 10. And they want in the form y equal m, where this m represents the variable and c equal the y-intercept. So all we have to do is just transpose this equation. So on y by itself, first thing we do, we care about x over 2y equal 10 minus x. You divide both sides by y, by 2 I mean, sorry. 2 cancel. So you have y equal 10 minus x over 2. And that would be the equation for L1 in the form of y equal mx plus c. But just to get it in the exact form, I'm going to further mark it down. So that will be negative 1 over 2x. So negative half is the gradient plus 5. 10 divided by 2 equals 5. And that's, so that are the equation for the line L1. So them ask question 2 simple. It says state the gradient of L1. As we say, L1, the gradient would be the coefficient of the x term, which is negative a half. So that's why I'm writing like that you guys could see it easier. So M1, which would be the gradient for line 1, would equal to negative half. Or 2 bunch. And then part 3 says, hence, determine the equation for line 2. Alright, need some space on this stuff. So they want the equation for line 2. They want in the form y equal mx c. So we just need to find m and we just need to find c because those are constants. Y and x variables, so you need to find the value of the constants. So m for line 2, that'll be m2 would be equal to, now given that the lines are perpendicular, the product of their, right there, given that the lines are perpendicular, the product of their gradients will be equal to negative 1. So that means you already know M1 because when you get M1, let's write it back here, negative a half. So M2 would be equal to negative 1 over M1, which will be equal to negative 1 over negative a half. So negative them would have cancelled from there, so you know already. So it basically 1 divided by a half, which is equal to 2. So that is M2. M2 is equal to 2. And then C now is the y-intercept. So basically it's when x equals 0, what does y equal to r? They already gave you that point on the graph, which is when x is equal to 0, because I had given you that point, y is equal to 5. Oh, sorry, minus 5, minus 5. So the equation for L1 would be y equal m, which is 2x, and the c is minus 5. And that are the equation for line 2. Okay. Alright, I don't know if the lighting is any better or anything like that, guys. Hope you guys are seeing. All right, we're going to 4B now. All right, so 4B says given that f of x is equal to function x equal to 1 over 3 and g of x equal to 3x over x plus 1. Let me say determine the value of f of 9. So this just simply I say anywhere I have x in this term, I'm going to put 9 instead. So that would be 1/3 of, instead of x I put 9 plus 4. That would be 3 into 9 plus 3 equals 3 plus 4, 7. So the answer for that is 7. The next part asks us to calculate the value of f3 minus 3. Right, this because you can't see. All right, so you know for this now, first thing you're going to have to do is find g of minus 3. So you're going to put minus 3 when we have x in the term of g of x. And then whatever you get for the answer for that, the numerical value that you get for the answer, you're going to put it as the x term in this equation for f of x equals that. So first thing we want to find out what is g of minus 3. Put minus 3 anywhere we have x. So we have 3 times minus 3 over minus 3 plus 1. So that equal to minus 9 over 1 minus minus 2 equal to 9 over 2. Then, go to the third one. Oh, sorry. So now we need to find f of 9 over 2. So anyway, we have x in that equation, we're going to put 9 over 2, so it's 1 over 3 times 9 over 2 plus 4. 3 plus 3. So I'm going to give me 3 over 2 plus 4. Square this out, that will be 8 over 2. 3 plus 8, 11 over 2. Alright, so the answer, guys, final answer will be 11 over 2, okay? So remember about this. So part 3 says now, determine the value of x which for determine the value of x for which g of x is equal to 5 over 2. So them say g. So them want the x value, but would have make g of x equal 5 over 2. So you're going to equate 5 over 2, 3x times x plus 1. We cross multiply, so that would have been 5 times x plus 1 equal 2 times 3x over 5x plus 5 equals 6x. So carry over that, so 6x minus 5x equal to 5x equal 5. So this is the answer. X equal 5. Then all right, and that would complete question 4. All right, before we go any further, do you guys have any questions or suggestions? Anything you want to ask? Anything you want to say? I'm just going to like a minute for type it or anything like that. All right. I assume that since you guys have no feedback, that means you're understanding or you've understood everything so far. So let's move on to question number 5. Okay. Someone just said for me, you are going a little fast. Okay. All right. So I'll try to slow down a little bit. As I said, if there's anything that you haven't gotten so far, at the end of the session, you can always ask questions. Or if you're not in the WhatsApp group, you can request for the link be sent so you guys can join the group and you can ask the questions in the group. You can ask questions in the group, or if you prefer to message me personally, you can also do that. I'll help you out with anything or as much as I can, okay? So, but for this session, I'll try to go a little slower that you guys can see clearly. All right, so question 5. So, part A now, let me read. 100 students were surveyed in the amount of money they spent on data for their cell phones during a week. The table below shows the results as well as the midpoint for each class interval. So I have a table with the data there. So part 1 says now using the table, determine the modal class of the amount of money spent. All right, so them ask for the modal class for the amount of money spent. So you look under the column where say money spent, and you look for the modal class, which would have been between 70 and 80. So greater than 70, less than or equal to 80. Okay, for the next part now. So part B now says calculate an estimate of the mean amount of money spent giving your answer correct to decimal place. All right, so them say the mean amount of money spent giving your answer correct to two decimal place. You know, mean equal average. So the amount of money spent. All right. So we'll look at each category first, and then we'll divide it by 100 because you know it was 100 students who took part in the survey. So between between 50 and 60, there were 7 students. And, you know, the midpoint of 55, so it'll be 7 times 55 plus. The next one now will be 11 times 65 plus 31 times 75 plus 29 times 85 plus 22 times 95. All of that over 100 equal to, let me calculate that and tell you guys. And this would be your answer. Okay. All right. Move on to the next question. All right, part three now. All right, so them say Damien reported that the median amount spent is $84. Briefly explain why Damien's report could be correct. All right, so Damien said that the median is $84. So them say explain why Damien could be correct. So why Damien could be correct is because all right, so median, you know that are the middle term. And you have 100 in the sample. So if you look at the table, you know that all right, for the first one to 50 to 60, that's 7 persons. For the next one, which is 60, 70, that's 11 persons. So far, we're on 18, and then 70. So the middle would be 50 terms. So you know, so the 50th term would fall within this range, which is the 70 to 80. And then in the table, they had given you the midpoint for that as 85. So let me say the midpoint for this. The, oh no, sorry. I forgot this would be 49. Yeah, 49. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm just, so we'll go on to the next one. Yeah, so the 50th term would fall within this bracket. And they said the midpoint of this was 85. So the 84, which Damon had guessed calculated to the median, would be close enough to this. So you could use that to conclude that Damon was right. Okay? So yeah, because the middle term, which is the 50th term, because you have 100 persons in the survey, the 50th term fall within this bracket right here, which is midpoint for this bracket was 85. Just give me a second, guys. All right. Sorry for that delay, guys. All right. Question 5 part B, no? All right. Question 5 part B says the two-way contingency table below gives information on the mode of transportation to school for 100 students. So you look at the table, it's walk, cycle, drive, and you have a total on the bottom on the left of the table. So part I says complete the table by inserting the missing values. Alright, let's drop on the table. Total. I'm gonna put W for walk, C for cycle, D for drive, and T out as I for total. So you have 15, and you have 23 as a total. So you know the amount of girls will be 23 minus 15. Yeah. Then, alright, so for cycle now, you only know so that at 18, we leave that one for last. To drive, you know, so 14, 26, and the total here, so it's 40. Alright. And you know the total across all of these is 48. Total across all of these, you know that as 8. And then this is 100 as what was told. So you can find this term now, you can find all of the remaining terms now. So you know, say this term would be 100 minus 40 minus 23. So that will be 60 minus 23. Alright, and if that's a 37, 37 minus 18 is 19. And then 100 minus 40 will get 52. Or the other side is. So that would be the completed table. So part 2 says, so that's a part. A student is selected at random. What is the probability that he or she was being driven to school on that day? So them ask the probability that a student was being driven to school on that day. So you know, sir, 40 students are are transferred to the school via being driven. So it'll be 40 over the total amount, which is 100. 2, 20 into that whole square. So that would be the probability 0.4. Okay. Okay, Mr. Somebody say do over a next question like what you just do, please. You have to tell me which question. So tell me question what part what's in. You have to tell me the question. Okay, so we can do that back later or anytime before the exam. Okay. All right. So a student is selected at random. Okay, we'll do that. That is one driven. So let's say one of the girls is selected at random. What is the probability that she did not cycle to school? So let's say a girl is selected at random. What is the probability that she did not cycle? Probability that she did not cycle. All right, so we are looking at the table for girls, and we are look everywhere besides cycling. So we have an X over this term. So it will be 8 plus 26 over 100 because you have 52 girls and you have 18 of them cycle. You understand? So it would be, or you can say 52 minus 18, same thing you get. So you get 8 plus 26 over 100 equals to 0.34, 34 over 100. And that, so that would be the answer 0.34. Sorry. So that's the problem is that a girl was selected at random and she did not cycle. Okay. So if there's any more questions, let's into this table. All right, and that's it for question number 5. All right, so we're on to question number 6. All right. So as I said again to the person, I'm sorry for pronouncing him incorrectly. Davina Lee. You said do over our next question like what you just do, please. You have a reference to which question. So which question? I don't know if it was question 5 or 4. So just let me know which one and which part as well, okay? All right. So I'll go move on to question 6. As I say, if there's any questions, you can ask the questions intermittently. You can ask at any time. As soon as I can, I will stop and check see if I can accommodate it, I can answer it, I can go over anything that you guys want, okay? All right, so now question number 6. Says Farmer Brown makes throws to feed his farm animals. Where did I go? Using wood that is 5 centimeters thick, as shown in the diagram below. The throws are rectangular based, open on the top, and have external dimensions of 300 centimeters, 19 centimeters, and 160 centimeters. So them of the diagram show that, and them ask now. Show by calculation the internal capacity or the volume of the rows is, and them give you the number, and them say to prove that it is that amount. All right, so what you just need to keep in mind for this question is that the volume I mean, the boards that I use are 5 centimeters thick. You just have to keep that in consideration when you calculate the volume. So, I know how best we can draw this out now. Alright. And then the boards have a thickness of 5 centimeters. Alright, another two ball. Alright, so here is 300 centimeters. This is 190. This is 160. So you know I didn't calculate that. I'm sorry about that. Alright, so them arcs if we find now the internal capacity, how much it can hold. Alright now. So looking at this side, so go and look at this face first. Right here. This face we're looking at. So from here to here is 300 centimeters. But remember, say you have a thickness of 5 centimeters on this side and 5 centimeters on this side. So the effective capacity of this would actually be 300 minus 10, which as I said, because you know the thickness is 5 centimeters. So 300 minus 5 centimeters on this side and minus 5 centimeters on this side. So we 300 minus 10 times. Now let's look at this face now. So the length from here to here is 190 centimeters, and the same thing, it has a thickness of 5 centimeters here, and a thickness of 5 centimeters here. So the real effective length would be 190 minus 10. And now let's look at the height now. So as the question said, to make this, it use boards that are 5 centimeters thick. So you can just safely assume say the board on the base, which you not really see on the drawing, is also 5 centimeters thick. There's nothing covering the top, so there's no board on the top. So it will just be 160 minus 5. So that would be 290 times 180 times 155. That's on calculator. And that's what they asked us to prove, and we got that answer. So 8,091,000 centimeters cubed. That's the answer. or the capacity of that box. All right, and that was part A. So now part B now asks to calculate the volume of wood needed to make the dough. So basically what I'm gonna ask now is the volume of wood needed to make this box right here. Just about this. So you have different ways how you could approach this. All right, you could find the volume of each individual piece of wood that is used. Cause you know one piece of wood make this a face here, one piece with that face, one piece with that face, one piece with that face, and one piece with the base. But there's an easier way to do it, and the better you guys learn the easier way. You could just determine the volume of the whole thing entirely, which would be 300 times 190 times 160 and minus the volume at this empty space, the capacity that you had found first, which was 8091123. And when you do that, you'll find the volume of just the wood alone that is left. So that on calculator you'll get, you do that for now. All right. So that's the volume of wood needed to make that box. All right. So part C says no. This was part B. So part C says now Farmer Brown must paint the internal surface of the floor. Given that 1 gallon of paint covers approximately 280,000 centimeters square of surface, determine the total amount of paint in liters that is needed to paint the internal surface of the floor. All right, now how to approach this question. Give us a second, I'm looking into this question. All right, guys. Let's now look on which way are the easiest way to click on this question. All right, so you want to paint the internal surface of this box here. So inside that you want to paint. All right, so you will need to paint each individual surface area and inside the box. So let us show you better. So you have one surface area here and one around here, so that would be two already. So let's put that in our bracket. So that would be 2 times. Now the surface area for this section, but we are looking inside now, it would be 300 minus 10, which are 290. Times, and this is 160 minus 5, which will be 155. So I calculate all the surface area. So that cover them two surface area. So what about the surface areas on the side now? So it'll be two of those as well, times. So this would be again 160 minus the 5 for the thickness, which will be 155, times 190 minus 10 for the 5 centimeter thickness on each side, which will be 180. Plus again, 2 times, or just 1, sorry, because the only surface area now we need paint for the base. And for the base now, it would be 300 minus 10, which will be 290, times 180, which will be 190 minus the 10 for the thickness on either side, 5 centimeter thickness on either side. All right, that's my calculator and tell me how much you get. So I get 197. So the surface area we need for paint. So that are the surface area that we need to paint. And you know the question, hold on, load the question. All right, let me put this right here so that I can remember 1979. Come on, I need this place. So you know, say, what the question say again? You need so 1 gallon of paint would have paint that amount. So if you only have now 1979 centimeters square, how much paint you need? So you cross multiply and divide. So you have x times 2 8 0 1 3 1 times 197. So x will be equal to so I can calculate and tell you guys. Approximately 0.707. Yeah, but they are three significant figures. So you don't need this amount of gallons. to paint the internal. So I'm gonna need some more space again, so I'm just writing out down this figure. Alright. Oh, somebody said they want to sleep. Yeah, I understand. Trust man, if the class is more interactive where I could I hear the feedback and things, it would be more exciting. So I understand where I come from with that. But you just have to bear a little. You understand? What about question? All right. So you know, sir. Hold on. So you know that 1 gallon of paint is equivalent to 3.79 liters, but we only needed 0.707 gallons of paint to cover the entire surface area. So you want to know how much liters that. So cross multiply again. So basically, x is going to be equal to 3.79 times 0.707 equal to. I'm going to get the answer for that. So it's going to be approximately 2.68 liters. So yeah, answer approximately 2 point. Sorry, this one point now. That's right. 2.68 liters, okay? If question asks anything more. Yeah, and that's it for question number 6. And again, guys, sorry about the delivery. You know, it might not be the most entertaining. As I said, I used to like have the classroom sessions where I can get feedback and where I can make you guys interactive. Some of the asks and some of the questions asking what we're doing at this step, making them more interactive, making them more vibrant and but based on the platform we can't have that kind of session. So I just have to try my best to accommodate this. Let me check how much questions left in this paper. I'm never really going to go through this paper. All right, now, so we have question number 7. Almost finished. So then, so the first 3 figures in the sequence of shapes formed by connecting lines of unit length are shown below. We have figure 1, 2, and 3. So A says draw figure 4 of the pattern in the shape in the space provided above. I have to draw figure 4. Hold on there. All right. Figure four. I mean, if you follow the pattern, it would be easy. Let's draw figure four. Only. That would be figure one. Figure two. Now would be the next one of these. Figure three would be one of these. Figure four would be on it. That would be figure four. Done with that. That's a part A. Part B now says the number of lines L in each shape and the perimeter P of the shape follow a pattern. Study the pattern of numbers in each row of the table below and answer the questions that follow. So the first one says complete the table below showing the number of lines and the perimeter of each figure. Then so figure one now has 6 lines and the perimeter is 5. So remember we did draw figure one, it did have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines and the perimeter is 5. Kaya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me say each of them equal. So figure two now has 11 lines. So remember we draw figure two 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And the perimeter for that now would be perimeter and that would be 8 because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be it. So for figure 3 now would be 16 lines and the perimeter will be 11. Okay, so we have that now. So for figure 4, so basically all them ask for now is for you to note down the pattern. So all right, if you now look at the table, you realize for figure 1 you start off with 6 lines, and figure 2 go to 11 lines. Then figure 3 go to 6 lines. So you realize each time you're adding on 5 more lines. You understand? So for figure 4 now, the number of lines would be the previous number of lines is 16 plus 5. I remember, we draw back over figure 4 again and see how much lines you add on just to make it right. So add on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each time we add on 5 lines. So this would be the amount of lines to figure 4. Now the perimeter now. If you notice the perimeter, it first started at 5, then it increased by 3, then it again increased by 3. So the new perimeter would be the previous one, which would be 11 plus 3. So that would be for 4. So for 4 would be that's will be 21, 14. And so they didn't really ask for 4 in the table. I'm just start showing the pattern. Let's do that showing the pattern. So now they ask so when you have for figure 5. So if you had a figure 5, I could draw it down just to verify, but we just do it after. So remember also we add 5 to the previous one. So this was previously 21, so it'll be 21 plus 5. And this was previously 14, so it'll be 14 plus 3. The 21 plus 5 will give me 26. 14 plus 3 will give me 17. And then you go down to when you have 66 now. All right, so I have 66. But I'm trying to figure out this. I'm gonna try to figure out the easiest way to explain this to you guys. We'll do the answer for the last one as well. Alright, but I try to say I could have explained this before. I don't know the best way to explain to you guys. So I just do the last one first. I'm making us say the last one and then we get back to this one. I mean, I could just look at it and tell you the answer, but I'm really want to try to find the best way to explain to you guys that you can't actually work out whatever on the exam. Alright, so you have N, I represent the figure right here. So let's get to this last one first. So the number of lines in the figures now. So if you realize the pattern would follow, so you start off with N, the number of with figure one having 6 lines and a perimeter of 5. You understand? So you start off with it having 6 lines and a perimeter of 5. When I go to 2 now, you add on 5 more lines and you add on 3 more to the perimeter. You understand? So each time you go up by each time n increase, it increase by 5n plus the perimeter increase by, as we said, 3n. But there was a reference which should have been 1 and 2. So if you realize this formula would be to calculate it, this would be the formula for the nth term. So any term, so once you have any term, you can find out how many lines using this formula and what is the perimeter using this formula. So given say you have the amount of lines now, you can use this and calculate n, and then you can calculate the perimeter after you find n. So you're going to say 66 equal 5n plus 1. So 66 minus 1 equal 5n. So 65 equal 5n. N equal 13. If you have n equal 13, you can plug it in the list. So 3 times 13 would give you 39 plus 2, 41. And that's how you get the answer for that question. As I said, the explanation might not be the best, but I hope you guys understand to some extent how we arrived at the answer, okay? But as I say, if you guys have any questions, we can sort them out at the end of the session or anytime you guys are studying, come and say, when I might not study maths after this, and I might wait till like the day before or the night before, something like that. You guys can always send your questions in the group and I'll answer them as best as possible. All right, so that was for the table. So part C now. So part C says write a simplified expression in terms of n for the difference d between the number of lines and the perimeter of any figure. So it was basically ask for the difference. So remember what we did get for the number of lines. We said it was 5n plus 1 minus the perimeter, which was 3n plus 2. So 5n minus 3n will give me 2n, 1 minus 2 will give me minus 1. And that's simply it for part C. All right, now we're going on to question 8. So Marla buys two types of mobile phones, B-Flow and C-Flex, from a company to retail. One B-Flow phone costs $60, while one C-Flex phone costs $80. She buys X number of B-Flow phones and Y numbers of C-Flex phones. Marla must not spend more than $1,200, right? An inequality to represent this information. So we have B flow and C flex. That's it, right? So the B flow phones cost $60. And the C flex phone costs $80. Okay. So she must buy X number of B flex and Y numbers of C flex. And the total of those must not pass $1,200. So the inequality must be any amount of B flex once you know B flex is X times 60 because of $60 for one. So plus the amount of C flex one, so B flow and C flex one, C flex of Y times because $80 for one must be less than so 60x plus 80 Y must be less than equal to, so yeah, it can be equal to this and equal to 1,002. So that would be the answer for that part of the question. All right, so for part 2 now, the number of B-flow phones must be greater than or equal to the number of C-flex phones. Write down an inequality in X and Y to show this information. So that's a simple one. Then so the number of B-flow phones must be greater than or equal to the number. So remember, so B-flow is represented by X. X must be greater than or equal to the number of C-flow phone. Number of C-flow phones represented by Y. So that's simply the answer for that one. All right, so part 3 says represent the two inequalities on page 22 on the grid shown below, labeled as R, labeled as R the region which satisfies the inequalities. All right, so maybe basically just have to sketch this for you guys because I don't have a graph paper. So write these up here so I'm gonna need the space. So alright, the marks with the sketch on the graph. So you already have this one as y must be less than or equal to x. So one find make y the subject of the formula for that. So you have 60x plus 80 y. So you carry over that, so you have 80. Divide both sides by 8, so you have y. So we can do that. 60 3x. So these are the two equations that I have. And now I'm going to sketch them kind of graph. As I said, this is just a rough sketch. I'm just have to represent some point. So remember this, so one right here, so one right there, so that right there. So this is for the graph y equal x. So you know, so the region where x is greater than or equal to y, or this section. Now for the next graph, have a negative gradient and the y-intercept when x is equal to 0, y would be equal to 15. No, sorry. X equal. Yeah, so we're gonna cut this graph up as somewhere 15. Because when we set x equal to 0, y would that equal to 15? When y equals 0 now, what would be x equal to? When y equals 0, x would be equal to 20. You see that? So the region now would be here, all of here. And this is a really graph of y. So that would be the answer for that question, Zine. So for sketch this graph easy, I would say the y equal x graph easy. Start at 0 and a 1-to-1 mapping. This one, when x equal 0, y equal 15, y equal 0, x equal 20, you draw the line from there. Whereby intercept, you also have an intercept. Right, so you could have worked out this value right now as well, so it's equal to 2 graph. You could have worked out that value as well to find out where the intercept. And then the area below it. Because base one they say well, y is less than, so it's the area below it. Okay. Below where those two graphs intersect. So that's the answer for that question. All right. So question four now, or part four, I should say. Just leave that. The total number of mobile phones is represented by x plus y according to the graph on page 23. What is the largest possible value of x plus y? All right. According to the graph, the largest possible values of x plus y would be 20. So that I. All right. So we'll move on to the next question. So question 8 part B says no. The table below shows pairs of values for the function y equal x squared plus x minus 4. So it shows the x values and the corresponding y values. That's what the table would show. On the grid provided on page 25, plot the remaining 4 points and draw the graph of the function y equal x squared plus x minus 4 between the points where x ranges from minus 4 to 3. And then get the graph paper, them already plot some of the points out here. So um, just leave a plot the rest of points them and get a graph. Um, then them ask write down the maximum or minimum value of the function. All right, to determine the maximum or minimum value of the function, you could plot the graph and look at where the mean value is, or I'm not sure, remember how you work this out again. I mean, I remember how them do this one at the CSEC level, but I know you could look at the graph and determine it. Also, how it worked out. I'll be honest with you guys, remember that right now. We move on to the next question. I say using a ruler, draw the axis of symmetry on the graph on page 25. So yeah, you'd have to plot the graph to draw that. So I guess we can do this question at a later time if possible, because we can't really plot it accurately on the board. So move on to question 9. All right, question 9a says in the diagram below, E, C, G, and F are points on the circumference of a circle. EG is the diameter of the circle. The tangent AEB is parallel to CD. Angle AEC is 68 degrees and angle EFB is 106 degrees. Alright, so it goes on to say determine the value of each of the following angles. Show detail working here if necessary and give reason to support your answer. So can I draw the diagram? So basically can work this. So them ask say ECD. Alright guys, hope you look on it now because you have to follow me. Alright. Now look on it and try and map it out now. Alright, how could I find this now? So you know that first rule you know that given factors C and D and A and B parallel, you know it forms some set of alternate angles here. So you know alternate angles are equal. So angle, you know angle BFE is equal to 106. But that's also equal to the alternate angle of AEF. All right. So you know that AEF is equal to 106. So AEF equal 106, and you know that angle. Sorry, this one I gotta look a little tricky. I just hope you guys can follow. AEC 62 degrees. So hence you can find angle CEF. Angle CEF is equal to angle AEF minus angle AEC, which are equal to 106. 62 degrees equal 44 degrees. Oh, sorry guys, this is 68. 68. Sorry. So that would have been 38 degrees. So the angle now CEF will be equal to 38 degrees. And you know, so angle CFE would be equal to 180 minus 106. So finding that now, you can find angle CDF. So angle C, I'm sorry, so angle ECD, yeah, which one would that be equal to 180 minus angle CFE minus angle CPF, which would equal to 180 minus 7. Sorry, I'm really need more space to do this. I just hope I can follow guys. Sorry about that. 180 minus 74 minus 38. So angle ECD equal to 68. Wait, something strange about that. Oh, guys, we never did need to do all of that. I just realized that there's a set of alternate angles there too. Oh, yes, the angle. Yeah, so, oh gosh, I never realized this. That next set of alternate angles there. So, yeah, you realize it equals back to the 68 as AEC. Yeah, because angle ECD is alternate to AEC. So, yeah, that's why I get back the 68 there. So we just do it the hard way for no reason. Someone asks which passport we're using. We're using July 2021. So yeah, that alternate angles right there. So that's why that equal back to the 68. So at least we know, sir. Correct. We'll go all the way around the world and we'll come back to that. So we're good. So all right. So that's part two now. Angle CEG now. Look on this one. Good that we not go around the world for no reason. For angle CEG now. So we know that CEG is complementary to angle CEA. CEG angle. So that would be the answer. That's 22 degrees. All right. So question two, question three now. So CGF. All right. Let me just look over this to make sure so I get there. I'm gonna go like a long route. I'll try to find the shortest way to explain this to you guys. All right. So first thing we know is a CGF. It's supplementary to CEF. I would define CEF from before in that long thing what we do, where CEF was just an angle. CEF would be equal to 106 minus 60 degrees. So that means angle CGF. Yeah, man. So that will be 142 degrees. Yes, angle CGF will be 142 degrees. The angle CGF is supplementary to CEF, and we define CEF already. Remember, I said AEF alternate to DFE. So we could have used that and find CEF with 106 minus 60, yeah, which I give over 32. So we use that, I mean 38, sorry. So, and then when, as we said, we said CGF is supplementary to CEF, so 180 minus 38 would give 142, and that would be the answer. Okay. All right, I'm not lighting no 100, but hopefully you guys are safe. Let me see if question can be there. All right, so B said from a harbor, H, the bearing of two ships Q and R are 069 degrees and 115 degrees respectively. Q is 175 kilometers from H, while R is 224 kilometers from H. And they represent the Venn diagram. So part I says complete the diagram above to show the missing information. So I have the reference, I have the harbor, H, and then there's a distance is what again. Towards Q. And then them say, oh, sorry. And then they give the angle R with respect to H is 151. So you put that this in 151. So you know this angle would be that minus that. So 52. Mm-hmm. Alright. So yeah, you just need to put in this and this complete the diagram. So part two now says calculate QR, the distance between the two ships to the nearest kilometers. So let's see. Best way to do this. Alright, so them ask now for part two ask for so here's some new diagram. QR, the distance between the two ships. So if you realize this triangle right here what we have right now is like You see here, so 82, 175, 242. So you have the angle, I have the length on either side of the angle, and you want to find the opposing length. So you can use the cos rule. The cos rule would say QR squared. QR squared equal to HR squared plus HQ square minus 2HR times HQ cos theta. So QR square will equal to HR square, which is 242 squared plus HQ squared will be 175 squared minus 2 times 242 times 175 cos, and the angle between them is 82. Alright, so QR square, let's work that out until the guys. It would be about 7, 4 approximately. So QR would that equal to the square root of that 77. Is that equal to 278.2 kilometers. So that QR would that equal, so using the cos rule. See? Alright, so part 3 now. What part 3? So part 3 is to calculate how far due south is ship R from the harbor. So the master calculate due south. Alright, so due south. So they would want this right here. Now we're on due south. First we'll find this angle. 180 minus 151 will be 29. Yes, so they will want this angle, sorry. Yes, so they want this angle. So, all right, you have this. You know this length mean? I'm sorry, they want this length. So you know this angle will be 29. If you use this as the reference, this will be the opposite. That will be the adjacent. And you know the hypotenuse. So you need the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So when it's cos. So cos theta equal adjacent over hypotenuse. So cos 29 equal go back adjacent because that one find over 242. So the adjacent, which is what one find, equal cos 29 times 242. So equal to what the fuck calculate and tell me? So that would be the answer for that question. Alright, so guys, the time kind of run out because I have to run now. So when I finish the session at 4, we have one question left to do, which is question 10. Because I'm have to run now, what I'm going to have to do with that question is going to have to just do that question on paper and just send it in the group, and you guys can see from there how that question is done. But so that would have concluded the session. So we'll do from question 1 to question 9 on paper 2, July 2021. You understand? So as we say, if you guys have anything else, you can always ask questions. If I go through anything I want to stock, you can ask in the group and we'll assist as best as possible. If you don't have anything, any question about what we'll go through today, you guys can ask again for me to go through the question. You can message me in the group or you can message me one on one and I will answer as best as possible. But for now, we have to conclude the session because the time run out now. So that would be all for today, guys. So as I said, additional support is always here. So anytime before exam, when I work out any question on the book anyway, I don't want any assistance, I can just send me the question, send me one to do so far, and I'll assist you guys to finish or help you understand where you don't understand. Okay. All right. You're welcome, guys. Okay.
Alrighty, guys, I'm seeing we lost, well, not lost, but a lot of people has already left. And I just want to say thank you guys for tuning into the workshop today. And I also want to thank Mr. Garrell for taking the time out of his Sunday to come and go over the past paper with you guys. So thanks once again. And we will definitely be having more workshops. Hopefully, we would be able to go ahead and use Zoom so it could be more of an interactive session because I knew you guys wanted to interact with Mr. Garrel, and Mr. Garrel also wanted to interact with you guys. So thanks again for coming out, and thanks for coming out, Mr. Garrel. Alrighty.
You're welcome.